the stream, but I think I got it figured out. No big deal. So we're gonna do some hand quizzes and just kind of chill. I didn't play yesterday. I just kind of wasn't up to it. Figured out. Some days are like that. We're gonna do. I find it's better just to miss the day uh, than it is to try to make something happen when you're just not into it. That's just, you don't always lose money, but it's a good way to lose money. So if you're not emotionally or physically up to it, just take the day. But plus, I got tons of other stuff I can do rather than play. So here we go. We got some hand quizzes. I'm going to give this dude another chance. This is the one yesterday that I disagreed with. Playing 1-200, or sorry, playing 1-2 no limit cash. So I'm going to give him another shot here because I was kind of really hard on him about that flop bet. You can see that in the replays, but let's see what he's got to say here.
Another Coach Brad quiz. This was a hand played by one of my 1-to-1 private students. It is a blind versus blind battle, so the action, fold, fold, fold. Now it's us in the small blind. We open at 3x with king 8 of spades. The reg in the big blind goes ahead and 3-bets us to $16. And now you are at a decision point. What should you do? Should you fold? Should you call? Should you 4-bet to $40?
So I don't really know what this guy's perception of a reg is. People call different people regs for different reasons. To me, that really doesn't tell us much. He doesn't say he's a tight reg or a loose reg or aggressive or whatever like that, but he's a reg. So this guy's around a lot. We know that. I mean, I feel like this coach is not understanding the assignment, not giving enough information. That said, let's just look at the hand. I think 3x opening here, playing live, is perfectly fine. You're going to see a lot of chops, but some places you can't. I've had some funny chop incidences, obviously. So, man, I got to remember to mute the playback when I'm talking. So, all right, here we go. Honestly, it's a little bit better than standard 3-bet. If I was playing this hand, I probably would have gone for the limp raise. So I would have limped the king 8, and if the player had raised me, I would then 3-bet. I don't like 4-betting this out of position, obviously. So I think the move here versus a reg, versus a good reg, I think you just ditch it. Versus a bad reg who kind of like doesn't realize what's going on in the hand and they don't have much, flop sense. I would call it and then go for bluffs. Out of position, though, we do have a lot of those, so I think we're just going to play this like this is a bad reg, because I think when people say reg, they mean, they don't just mean regular, they mean bad player. So we're going to go ahead and call and see what develops, see what score we get. Hang on, let me do that.
Okay, so facing a 3-bet here, blind versus a reg, you get 0 points for folding. You should never be folding here. Given that villain 3-bets us not even a full 3x, we have a good price. 4-betting it to $40 may look like an appeal.
I will say I kind of screwed that up. I didn't look at the size of the bet. My eyes are still getting sleepy awake, so I thought it said 18, which I guess can be standard. Usually the move here would be to like 20. You go a little over 3x. He makes it 16. So in that case, it's just always a call because the player is raising too small. So like he said, we're getting the great price, and we don't really have any information yet. Sometimes this means really strong. Sometimes this is just the standard the person does. So what are you going to do?
Appealing option. However, if we 4-bet to $40, villain can shove and deny our equity. I expect villain to not be folding that often to 4-bets in this formation. So that is not very appealing. You get 0 points there. Calling is your gin answer here. So we're going to call and see a flop. We have middle pair. Flop is Jack 8 Trey Rainbow. We have a backdoor flush draw. We check. Our opponent bets 5 doll hairs. And now what should you do? Should you fold? Should you call? Or should you raise to $20? Choose your adventure.
This was my issue with this coach yesterday. He's talking about a situation that is going to come up so rarely. Like, who's three betting you out of the big blind and then betting, a third that bet on the flop? The guy's literally betting a sixth of the pot here, right? Like, this is not going to happen often enough for us to care. This is a funny anecdote hand. This is one that maybe you learn through experience. You don't even really tell anybody about it unless something big pops off. But you're going to play this hand wrong a lot of times because you're not getting any information. I would count this bet as a check, personally, because it doesn't really mean anything. A lot of people go into the psychology and say it means he's trying to get raised, or it means he's trying to see a turn, or whatever like that. But you know what? It doesn't really mean anything, especially in a cash game. It could just mean I have $5. So I'm gonna go ahead and just act like it's a check and not change the action. If I had checked and he checked, cool. I check, he bets $5. I'm just gonna call, see what develops on the turn, because I think raising here sometimes we run into a setup where he has nothing, and we check raise to 25 or 35, and he makes it 100 with an air ball. You know what I'm saying? Plus, we do have a lot of equity. We have second pair, which is usually good here, blind versus blind. We have the backdoor straight draw, or backdoor flush draw. We can get two pair, we can get trips. I don't think there's a point to change the action yet. I think a lot of times when you call and the player has nothing, he'll either size up on the turn or completely give up. And then we just know that we have the best hand. And the pot's kind of hefty, it's 19 big blinds already. So that's my call. Just call.
All right, so facing this small-sized bet, did you choose fold, call, or raise? Fold was worth 0 points.
I don't know why this isn't updating.
Never be folding here when you flop middle pair with the backdoor flush draw. This hand is just way too strong to fold. Calling gets you 10 points. This is the winning choice, raising to $20. Net you 0 points. There's no reason to raise here. If we raise, we are going to put ourselves in a very awkward spot when villain continues, because we don't know if villain's continuing with their Jack X, with their overpairs, with their straight draws, if they're floating us with back doors. It's just really, really hard to play future streets if we raise and villain calls. So we throw in the red bird, and we see a little 4 of diamonds here on the turn. We check. Now our opponent goes ahead and bets half pot. And what should you do now? Now, should you be folding? Should you be calling? Or is now the time to unload the chamber, raise it up to $65 hairs?
I think a lot of players play this wrong, and I feel like this coach is going to say different. But in my experience, there's no reason to raise here, because the player 3-bet is free flop, right? So he's either got something good or he has absolutely nothing. And then he bet $5 on the flop, which is really nothing. When he bets 21 here, this is so small. Like, I was waiting for him to size up. A size up bet is about 30, 35, somewhere in there. 30 is fine. I think 30, 32. That's where you would size up if you had something you wanted to get money in the pot with. 21 is just one of those bad bluffing sizes. It just doesn't look like anything. It doesn't mean anything. Also, if we raise here, right, to 65, and he continues, what do we do? What do we beat? Like, on the river. Like, we beat pocket 7s, sure. Pocket 6s, okay. Hands like that. We beat hands like 9, 10 if the straight doesn't come off. That's cool. But when we call, we kind of keep his entire range in. And what's his entire range 3-betting preflop? It's ace-king, it's ace-queen, it's king-queen, it's, queen-jack. It's all those hands. We keep all those hands in. And there's hands like king-queen that if we just call and the river comes off a king, we just crush him. And then we can go for the big check raise. There's hands like ace-king that do the same thing. We can get drawn out on a lot, but there's also hands like king-10, you know what I'm saying, that are continuing just for, whatever. And there's a lot of times when we share the king here. So I think in that exact instance, I think this is just always a call. I don't see the value in raising. Like, are we protecting our second pair? Not really, because we're either beat or we're not. And we got one more card to come, and you know what, if we get drawn out on the river, we didn't lose much, and we're going to know it. So we're going to go ahead and just call here.
Okay, we're facing a 1/2 pot size bet here on the turn. The correct answer is to call once again. Our hand is certainly strong enough to call our middle pair. Villain can have a lot of backdoor diamond draws. They can have a lot of overcards, gut shots, plenty of hands that we beat. There are also hands that we do not beat, the Jack X's and the overpairs. That's why raising doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It's very hard to get called by worse. We have a hand that is, marginal, and we want to let villains' polarized range stay polarized. If we raise, it does not stay polarized. So we call, and now the river is the 4 of clubs. It pairs the bottom card, which is an effective brick. We check, and now our opponent bets $27. And they bet 27 into 84, so it is a small bet, about 1/3 the size of the pot. And now, what should you do? Should you fold, or should you call?
This one's pretty easy. We don't have a hand strong enough to really raise. We'd effectively be turning our hand into a bluff if we check raised here. This is not exactly polarized by the betting, I don't think. I kind of disagree with this coach in that manner. This is a weak player at 1-2. So he's either got the world, like an overpair, like queens plus, or a set, and he's trying to get called, which this is not the play to make the most value out of that. He's going to get called, but he's not going to make enough for the way he played it versus how many times he's going to get sucked out on. And there's no point in raising because we're not going to get called by a value hand. I don't think we're beat often enough to merit a bluff here. So it's a straight call, man. There's nothing really to do here. These situations come up a lot on the river. This hand played out weird as fuck. But, the player bets small on the flop with not $5. They bet like 20 on that flop or 15. And they bet small on the turn, not, a third of the pot, maybe half, which is where we were at. And then the river, they just kind of bet for a little bit of value, maybe as a bluff. Maybe you had 9-10 and you can't call, but why was he betting if you have 9-10, right? Well, he could actually have 3-bet you pre-flop with something like 6-7 of diamonds, let's say. You know what I'm saying? So then he was looking for a gut shot. He has nothing, and he has to bet to make you fold. So he has nothing, but you have a better nothing. So situations like that, obviously you're going to bet. His play is wrong for that too. I think we're either going to get shown the effective nuts, like an overpair or better, or we're going to see nothing when we call here. So we just call.
Okay, to wrap this hand up, you're facing a 1/3 size pot bet on the river here. We're getting a great price, $27 to win $111. This is about 4-1. We need to win 20% of the time, even though we're facing a small bet where we're likely to lose with a high frequency. We still cannot fold because if villains start bluffing with any sort of offsuit hands, ace, queen off, king, queen off,
Up, Hedis?
hands like
How you
that,
doing,
that's
man?
automatically 16 combos that go in the bluff category. And if they have 16 combos in the bluff category, that means that to offset that, they need 47 combos.
This is way too much talk about combos for this simple a hand. I feel like this coach is... he's making a meal out of a side dish. I mean, there's not that much to this. You don't have to consider that many combos. The betting on this made it too easy for you to call down. You're not a hero here. This is a standard thing. Hey, what's going on, bro? We're just going to finish up this hand, but ask me anything, man. It's been a long time. I've only been back to streaming for about 5 or 6 days. I'm going to do these streams every morning at 11:30. Today's the first day I was a little late, had some technical issues, meaning technically I wasn't awake. So I had to start a little late. But yeah, these are some hand quizzes from pokercoaching.com if you don't know. These are great. These are interactive. Great poker players put these things up, and they ask you what you would do, and you kind of respond along the way. It's very cool. I like doing these in the morning to kind of wake up my brain. I didn't play any poker yesterday, so there is no hand reviews from tournaments I played. But usually that's the first part of these videos. And plus we're just chilling out and talking and, all that. What sites you play on these days? ACR and WSOP.com. I'm in Nevada, so I can still play WSOP.com. That's just for cash. I'm just kind of bankroll building there. If you hadn't noticed, the name of this channel changed, called Qui-Gon Broke. So I am from a broke perspective, so I am in a rebuilding phase. That's going to take a few months, maybe longer, maybe less. But the meat and potatoes is a multi-table tournaments on ACR. But I also find other ways to make money playing jackpot tournaments, blast, the little sit and goes, and playing a ton of like 10 and 20 NL. Not so much 20 yet because my bank's not there, but 10 NL on WSOP, playing that with a smaller delay, like 3 minutes. Doing that like late night kind of streams things. Those seem to be fun. A lot of the old crews, come back and met me and seen me. And it's very motivating now because, we do have the affiliate thing, and that's kind of half the reason why I left, man. I was super bitter about not having a sub button, but now you don't even need one. It's awesome. I want to see what this dude finishes saying here. I think, it's obviously we got perfect score, on every street, but it's a weird hand, and I think he's highlighting it. That's dumb.
Of value, which is going to be hard to reach. So if villain is bluffing with any frequency here, we just have to put the money in the middle and hope for the best. We do call, and our opponent shows us the ace queen of hearts, and because the villain had ace queen of hearts, we can extrapolate from there that they are likely to be betting with a lot of bluffs here on the river, which means that we ought to be calling with king 8. It's totally appropriate here. And this concludes this quiz from Coach Brad Wilson. Thank you for playing along.
Brad Wilson, an amazing player. I really don't like. So far, I've seen 2 of his quizzes. The one yesterday that I did, you'll see it up in the VODs, in the dailies, number 5. I really disagreed with it the way he played. He started this hand by saying this player is a reg, and we got 3-bet. The end here, the real description of that player is he's a bad reg because he wasn't aggressive enough. His bets weren't big enough. He had a good hand pre-flop, and they didn't know what the fuck to do with it. He didn't have any flop sense, like I was talking about. I really don't agree with the way this. The answers are correct, but you got there wrong. It's like doing multiplication instead of going 3 times 5 and getting 15. It's saying, okay, what's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3? That's not the way you do multiplication. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting the right answer, but he's going about it the wrong way, and it's going to open up chances to make serious mistakes, like folding here for some god-known reason. Yeah, I'm on ACR mostly, man. If you're not signed up on ACR, I'm sure you are, but if you're not, I do still have the link on the front page. You can click on it and get 27% rake back. And if you do that, sign up, make a deposit. Once I get the clearance thing that you've signed up, you show me some proof that you started your new account and signed up, and I get the confirmation on my side. I'll send you $10 because why not? I make a few bucks, so you can make a few bucks. You're addicted to stars? Yeah, I was addicted to stars too, man. When I was in Canada, I absolutely loved Poker Stars. Like, it's the best site out there. But I'm gonna say this, man. Even back then, Poker Stars was the site where the best players played. Now I don't know what level you're playing at, but in this day and age, I'm not really looking to play on stars. Playing from Sweden, so we need sites with a license. Do you? ACR is unregulated, but I don't think you'd be blocked by VPN. I've known a couple people that played from, well, I don't know anybody from specifically Sweden, but a few places over there that play there. But that's interesting. But, if I had Poker Stars, I probably wouldn't, well, no, I would, because for the exact reason I'm talking about. It's hard. Poker Stars is hard, man. Like, the players there are more educated than anywhere else because it's the biggest site in the world. Granted, there's more fish depending on what level you're playing at, but even the $20 tournaments there play like $100 tournaments here. Like, it's, online. It's so rough. And your goal in poker is not to show how big your dick is, it's to make money. So, I don't know if I would play on Poker Stars very much at all these days. If you gave me a trip to Canada, well, if I had a proper bankroll, I would. If I was just looking to compete. But I definitely wouldn't put in the majority of my volume there. I'd still put 80% on other sites because it's just easier money. You don't have to strain your brain as much. Although they do have a lot of good formats. I like those 180-man sit and goes. I used to crush those. Those were my bread and butter. I would start my day by playing 2 or 3 of those and cover the whole day's play by what I won. Those things were great. Let's go to the next hand. See what's up. It's going to be Coach Brad again, I think.
Welcome to
another
quiz from Coach Brad. You're playing at 200 no limit.
That was the hand I had a real problem with. There's no way to skip it. I just got to go back. I'm not doing these out of order. Poker Stars Michigan is total donkfest. Yeah, the U.S. versions of Poker Stars are absolutely donkfests. I'm talking about the international one. That's the thing. Still live with the wife? Yeah, can't get rid of her. She's she just woke up. She's in the bathroom over there. Yeah, Q's all good. Exclamation point family if you want to hear more about that. It's just a little blurb. Why is this not uh, refreshing? Let's try this. PokerCoaching.com, man. Running a little slow today, bro. Usually this site's like lightning. All right, there we go. Quizzes. Although when coaches are adding quizzes, it kind of screws up the list, so you kind of have to reload the site sometimes. Do. So yeah, that's probably what's going on. But whatever. We'll get there. We'll just let it run. I don't think my internet's running slow. All right, cool. Here we are. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of these yet, but as you can see, there's over 1,000 of these things. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, it's 1,401 of them right now. Just put up by Faraz Jaka. There's Gripst. There's our dude who's been coaching here. Okay, so 2NL, 200 NL, 4-bet pre-flop versus a reg. Now, again, he says reg, but he's not saying pan and poly. Yeah. I came out as pan just before the presidential mandate of the pandemic. Kind of bad timing because now I was like, I mean, it was good timing because we had a lot of stuff to work through in our relationship. But yeah, yeah, man, I have been for 20 years. I mean, I guess I've always been, but I didn't like act on it until I was like in my early 20s. Um, what's pan? Pansexual. Basically, the tagline to that is hearts not parts. So like, women, very pretty men, trans, cross dressers. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of like what I'm attracted to. I get asked a lot like, what am I generally attracted to? Just pretty and the person. You know what I'm saying? Like I like feminine energy, stuff like that. And there's a lot of beautiful non-female people out there. So yeah, that's whatever. Um, yeah, so that's where it's at. It's just whatever. And the poly thing, it's like right now I'm kind of like in a holding pattern. Q's got a boyfriend. We're actually going to see a movie tonight, all together, which is cool. But I just broke up with my 4-year girlfriend about a month ago, which is rough. It's a trans girl, but we went through a lot, and I think the trauma of recent things she went through kind of changed who she was. She was in the hospital really bad, and even though I was there every day and supporting her, I think it kind of changed who she was. So in the end, I was like, this isn't okay, and I just had to like make the right decision to not be in a situation where I was being taken for granted. So it's kind of rough to do. I still miss her. So let's take a look at this. So 4-bet pre-flop versus a reg. Oh, it's aces. Aces is the hand. Oh, this ought to be real educational. This is my problem with this player or with this coach is he's doing situations that don't need coaching, like very specific situations you're either never going to see or like layups. Like, all right. And he's calling it a reg. I mean, he's not like, he's using terms like fish sandwich.
What is happening, Captain?
Let's see.
I hope you're doing well. Coach Brad here. I wanted to let you know that my first webinar cash game learning path is live. I would highly suggest that you watch the replay so that all of my
Good point of fact, if you subscribe to the pokercoaching.com, you get access to everything. So what he just mentioned, I have access to. I'm not working on any courses right now. That's the stuff over here. But they have a lot of great stuff. I'm not sponsored by them or have an affiliate link. I actually wrote them to ask if they had an affiliate link, but more so, can I do this on stream? They said it was cool, but they don't have an affiliate program going. But I just really love this site. I've been a member for over a year. It's well worth the money. Like, I've never gotten so good so quickly.
Subsequent webinars make sense because my plan is to execute them in a linear fashion. Here we have aces, six-handed. We have a little bit of depth.
Mikey?
We open 2.5x. The reg, who is in the small blind, goes ahead and 3-bets us to 22. The big blind folds, and now it is our action. Do you want to call, or do you want to 4-bet to 55 doll hairs?
I mean, I think this is one where it can kind of go either way. He made a big 3-bet. Um, here's the problem. Here's the real problem. He gave it away in the title. 4-bet pre versus a reg. So I feel like his answer is going to be to 4-bet to $55, but we're heads up, man. We're heads up, short-handed, and we're in position. I don't see the value in 4-betting here. I think if we just call, especially versus the small blind, we're going to induce more bluffs, and we're going to not slow him down. So let's just call. But I really feel like he's going to say raise to 55, which I think is a mistake here. And, this player has 238. We have 217. We're effectively the same stack. He's got us covered at 222. This is a call all day long. This is not a 4-bet. But I think he's going to say 4-bet because this guy is doing weird things with his coaching videos.
Oakley Dokley, since we are battling a reg, we decide.
Again, he refers to him as a reg. That just means somebody who shows up a lot. I'm a reg, but am I a good reg? Am I a bad reg? Am I a loose reg? Am I a tight reg? Am I tight aggressive? Am I loose aggressive? What am I? I'm not a reg. A reg is everybody who plays poker often. That's it. That's no information. So I stand by my call pre-flop. He gave me 0 points. And this is not, I'm not stubborn. Usually I'll make the wrong answer and go, oh, why did Jonathan Little say that? And then I'll see his point of view. This dude's going to just talk himself into playing the hand perfectly. Like Jonathan Little will do stuff like this, and then you'll see that he's like, this is the correct move. This is what you should do, blah, 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 for all these reasons. Unfortunately, in this hand, I made this mistake, but let's go from there. And he shows that. I think this dude's never going to show he made a mistake.
To 4-bet to $55 with our aces. The reg in the small blind calls, and now we're going to head to a flop. We get this beauty, King of Hearts, Queen of Clubs, Jack of Hearts. Our opponent has $205 behind. We
get this beauty. This is like one of the worst flops for us. All Broadways are 3-betting us from the small blind. Ace 10 is 3-betting us from the small blind. I 3-bet 9-10 from the small blind. Jacks, queens, kings, all those hands 3-bet from the small blind. This beauty, we don't even have the ace of fucking hearts. This is a bad flop for us, man. Like, bad. Why is he not saying that?
167. So effective stacks are 167. There's 61 big blinds, or $122 in the middle. Our opponent checks. And now, what should you do? Should you check behind on this triple Broadway board? Should you start out by betting 1/4 of the pot? Or should you start out by betting 1/3 of the pot? Let me know.
I feel like there's no way in hell whatever I say he's going to agree with. But I already know what I'm doing here. And this is not a spot where I'm looking to learn from. This is aces playing 1-2 versus a player who shows up with no other information on him. I'm checking. Because 2 reasons. 1, he 3-bet pre-flop and then checked. At a 1-2 table, you're not seeing players do this with airballs. Like, if he has ace-king, he's betting here. Honestly, I think if he has ace-queen, he's betting here a lot. A lot of 1-2 players will, because they think you have a hand. They'll do fantasies where they're like, oh, I have pocket, or this guy could have pocket 10s. I don't want him to draw for free. That's a fantasy, man. They'll also always bet, like, any kind of draw, kind of hand, like hearts or something like that. But when he checks, I think it's much more likely we are beat, man. I think 2 pairs in there that maybe doesn't want to bloat the pot, but we're still behind. So I think the best card on the turn for us is a jack, outside of a 10, obviously, or an ace. Yeah, but I think we just check behind here because we don't accomplish much by betting. Like, if we bet, there's 122 in the pot. Our minimum bet's gonna be about $40. What do we do if he raises? I mean, we're just gonna have to like ditch the hand. I think we can check here because if we're beat, we're beat. If not, we have good equity, a lot of chances to suck out. A second pair could suck us out, pretty good. And I want to be able to call a small bet on the turn and see what happens. So my answer is check, but I feel like he's going to give me 0 for that, even though this hand is played poorly.
All right, I did something I don't love doing. I kind of set you up for failure here because this is kind of a...
You do this in every video, bro. You always talk out of both sides of your mouth. He's playing these hands retroactively. He's not looking at them objectively. I do not like this coach. I'm gonna stop doing these quizzes. I'm only doing it to like get more aggravated, and he's just like not the coach to go for. He's talking about stakes I play, and he's not talking about them correctly.
Gross spot, right? Like we have aces, king, queen, jack, 2-heart board. This likely hits.
If he says your move here is to bet $20 to see where you're at, I might throw the computer out the fucking window. That's the worst thing you could do because it gets you no information, it induces bluffs, and you just totally have to fold the best hand a lot when you do that. And it's just throwing money away. I swear to God, if he says the move is to bet $20, I'm gonna throw up.
Villains 4-betting flat range very hard. Aces is not the top of our range here on this board. So you got 5 points for checking, 5 points for betting 1/4, and 7 points for betting 1/3. Kind of hard to go wrong, no matter.
Kind of hard to go wrong. You don't even have a top score here. Did he not give out 10 points for any action here? Hang on. Let's go back.
Here on this board. So you got 5 points for checking, 5 points for betting 1/4, and 7 points for betting 1/3.
He gave no 10-point score. So there's no way to get it right here. Check is 10 points, bro. Check is 10 fucking points. It takes a disciplined, educated player to check here. He gave no best score. What the fuck? That's not how these quizzes work. It's like 0 for this action, 5 for this action, or 7, depending on how you feel about it, and then 10. This is the best action. He didn't choose a best action. The fuck is this?
Kind of hard to go wrong, no matter what option you choose. None of them.
Kind of hard to go wrong. Checking or betting. Different sizes. It's kind of hard to go wrong. It's very easy to go wrong. This coach really does suck ass, man. Like, I'm not blowing it up. He's just wrong here. He's not even putting up, like, solver stuff. Like, he's not even, like, telling me how he got to his crazy fucking conclusion. This is what I was saying yesterday. Maz, this player plays much higher because he is a good player, right? He's got good results. He wouldn't be coaching on the site if he didn't. That's the end of the line. You don't get on Jonathan Little's coaching team if you're not very fucking good, right? Yeah, right. How could you not give an option for 10 points? There's no right answer here. The fuck? So you get 10 points if you just fold out a turn? Like, what's the move? So, like, you don't get on Jonathan Little's coaching staff if you're not a good player. Obviously, this player doesn't understand the assignment of what you're supposed to be doing. He's coaching situations that are way too rare and way too stupid. There's definitely a right way to play this hand. He's played it wrong. So my flop check, I think, is 10 points here because we're just throwing money away. We don't gain any information. If we're getting trapped, we're going to hear about it on the turn. If the dude checks the turn, then we can bet. That's the way this works, man. The guy could have like king 10, right? 3-bet the king 10 of diamonds, let's say. Let's say that's the scenario, right? I would also check flop with you. Yeah, right? There's no reason to bet here. Thank you. I'll take my 10 points from you, Maz. I appreciate your opinion better than this fucking asshole. Like, I don't want to shit talk the guy because he is a good player, but like I was saying, he's a player who's playing much bigger and he doesn't realize what it is to play at these stakes. I think he went out and played 1-2 to get some coaching stuff, like because he didn't want to like coach bigger or play bigger cash. He might be a tournament player who wants to like show off some cash shit, you know. All right, let's see.
Are slam dunks by any stretch of the imagination. So you go ahead and you bet one.
Worst fucking option. Oh my god. I mean, it's not the worst option. $20 was the worst option, but betting here gains us nothing. If we get called, then what? Like are you gonna bet the turn? Are you gonna check the turn? Like, I feel like he doesn't have a future plan. All right.
1/3 the size of the pot, and now villain is going to shove, and I don't know.
Right. You don't know. That's the point.
What the deal was with this quiz, but it wasn't allowing me to give an option here for the hero, but your option is to call or fold. Let me know which decision you think is appropriate here. We have $127. There's $367 in the pot, so getting 3-1 with a call with aces. So villain does.
So he's telling us the pot odds. This is retroactive. He's telling us the pot odds so he can justify his shitty call. Now, versus a bad reg, which is information he didn't give us, Snap call. Snap call. King 10. Pocket 10s. You know? Ace Queen of Hearts. Queen 10 of Hearts. Snap call versus bad reg. Good reg? Good reg? Snap fold. Snap fold. King Queen. Jacks. Ace 10. Full. Right? Knows he's being trapped by aces. Gets the dream flop after 3-betting out of the small blind correctly, and realizes this is the moment to get the money in. Right? So fucking bad. Versus a reg, which is what he called this guy, which means we have no information other than to know this guy plays poker a lot. Doesn't mean he's good. I've seen people that have played poker every day for 30 fucking years, and every time I've seen them, I bust them at 1-2 because they don't study. They just play. They think playing makes you better. That's not how you get better. You get better by reviewing hands, studying, reading books, watching videos. You don't get better by playing. Nobody gets better by playing. You think anybody in the NFL just played football all day long and never went to the gym? That's fucking retarded. So this is the worst hand I've ever seen played. He's justifying his call by the pot odds, which is not what you do at 1-2. You're going to get pot odds that are great for you all day long, but you're going to lose fucking money because they're the worst players on the planet. They're playing their hand, and I'll bet you he's going to win here. I'll bet you. Pocket 10s, right? But he didn't tell us this is a bad reg. He just said reg.
End up shoving, and then we call. You get 10 points for calling here, 0 points for folding. Like I said on the earlier street, we're getting 3-1 here with our aces,
He's
even though
justifying.
it's not an amazing spot for us.
It's an awful
we
spot.
only need to have 25% equity to continue. If villain ever
In the
has
real world,
the
you
ace
don't
queen of
get
hearts,
it.
notice we don't have the ace of hearts here, which is pretty important factor
'cause he
in
can
this
have ace
hand
queen of
because
hearts.
villain can have suited ace X of hearts that they flat the 4-bet with from the small blind, and then they can have ace queen of hearts. They can also have pocket 10s. And if they have pocket 10s or ace X of hearts, ace queen of hearts with any frequency, we will have enough equity to continue. We do have a gut shot, and we have 2 aces that are most likely live because villain isn't going to be flopping a ton of straights right here. So in a spot where we could be making
I think
a
he's gonna roll
small
over the
mistake
nuts on him.
by calling too frequently versus a large mistake by folding and villain showing up with, maybe some jack 10 suited, pocket 10s, ace queen of hearts, we all...
Point of fact, if we fold and he shows us the jack 10, right, for the open ender with 6 outs plus the jack for another 2, that's 8 outs. That's 32% chance to win. We did not make a massive mistake by check folding, right? Because he put 300 in the pot. It cost us 167. We're getting a break-even situation versus that hand because that player has the equity against us. It's not bad. This is one of those ones where you would preserve your chips. I wouldn't even care if the guy showed me jack 10 and I had aces. If he showed me jack 10, I could say, pull my cards out of the muck. Pull my cards out of the muck. And if they would, and I'd say, what'd you have? I'd say, I have an ace of diamonds, ace of spades. This guy's a great player. I would show him that. That would make me so much fucking money. To make a bad fold there, bad fold. It's not a bad fold. You're at 1-2. What the fuck do you expect to be up against?
always opt to call where you're most likely making a smaller mistake versus a larger.
This player just called a 4-bet pre-flop, by the way, which was already the wrong move. You're going to be shown a set of jacks here a lot.
Mistake, and we can see
look at
the
that!
bad news. We did run into a set of queens, and they get the clean run out here of a deuce and a 5 and win the pot. However, it's not always about whether you win or lose.
Yes, it is. It's not always about whether you win or lose. Here's point of fact. At 1-2, it's about whether you win or lose. I took some hellacious beats about 2 months ago, playing live at South Point when I was still doing that. It's absolutely about whether or not you win or lose at 1-2. You actually have to play around what other players are drawing at. So, like, you have to be up against a player to know that, well, if I bet this much, he's incorrect to draw. It doesn't fucking matter. Just shove all the money in. You don't sit there betting to keep a guy from drawing. You jam your money in and hope he's stupid enough to draw at, less than, a 10% equity. You know what I'm saying? To draw with his hand, because that's just what they do at 1-2. I called it. I said jacks, he had queens. Excuse me. If we don't 3-bet pre-flop, we don't get busted here. Like, there's no reason to 4-bet pre-flop. There's no reason. He even gave it away in the title, 4-bet pre versus a reg. Am I playing later? Yeah. What I'm gonna do, Stanley, is I'm gonna do this for a little while longer, right? Probably like another half hour, and then I got to run a few errands, and then tonight going to the movies with Courtney and Michael, her boyfriend, I guess, and his a friend of his, well, I guess his girlfriend, and we're all gonna go see Shang-Chi, which I've been really dying to see. So we're gonna do that like probably about 6 o'clock. And I'll get back here about maybe like 9 or 10, and I definitely want to stream tonight, and so I'm going to be playing some cash games over on WSOP, Nevada version, probably about 10 or 11 tonight, and I'm just going to play a few hours, but we'll stream, we'll hang out. It'll be a shorter delay than when I play MTTs, because, obviously it's cash games, you don't need that much time, so it'll be like, 90 seconds to 2-minute delay. I think 2 minutes is enough, and, we'll get to play some poker and, have some fun. But yeah, this is crazy, and this guy just totally reverse justified his bullshit play. It's awful.
Lose the pot. It's about the decision making on the flop, and right here,
which you made wrong.
I believe that this flop is a call. Very, very hard to fold. You need to be right at a ridiculous.
He didn't call the flop. He bet the flop. He's saying, I believe this flop is a call. The dude checked. So if you call, that's a check. He bet the flop for 40.
High frequency in order to comfortably fold.
He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Seriously. I'm going to replay it. Because am I fucking crazy? He just said this is a call on the flop.
What is happening, Captain?
So I said it was a call.
Doing
he
well,
says it's
Coach
a 4-bet.
Brad.
He even gave it away in the title.
I
went with call.
Dokley, since we are battling a reg, we decide to stacks are 167. There's 63rd of the pot.
He checks.
He
checks. Do I want to call this flop? Yes. I would like to call, which is a check. This fucking retard bets 40.
All right, I did something I don't love doing. I kind of set you up for by any.
Yeah, he bets 40 on that flop, and then he gets jammed on. This is the worst fucking play I've ever seen in my life. This is awful. I'm sticking with my wrong answer and taking my bad points.
So Villain does end up shoving,
I got
and
5
then
points on your bullshit
we get
quiz.
10 points for calling here, 0
Let's
points.
go to the next one. This is the worst.
Welcome, my.
He's got another one here. Oh, we already did this one. This one was awful. Let's go back to quizzes. I'm just so aggravated now. I'm not even going to put up a good. If he has one more, I'm going to do it. But I don't think I even want to put up a serious hand because this guy is so fucked up. The stakes I play. You're wrong, bro. You're just wrong. That's all you are. Like, I'm sure he's an excellent player. I would be more inclined to believe he does well in 5K buy-in tournaments than he does at 1-2 no limit. It's fucking bananas. 200 NL out of position versus a fish. So $1 $2 blinds. We're under the gun. God, do I even? All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it just because I gotta know if this guy's got any reality to him.
What is happening, my friend?
Okay, thing to note that he doesn't mention, 6-handed. He will not mention that. He says fish. Fish isn't a term people really use anymore because your perception of a fish is different depending on who you are. My perception of fish is not a new player. My perception of a fish is more of a player who makes dumb, big mistakes that I can capitalize on. A new player, to me, isn't a fish. They're not at fish level because they don't have enough. Like, if somebody doesn't even know the hand rankings, you're not a fish. Because you know what? You're harder to beat than somebody who makes big mistakes. You're much harder to beat. You know what I'm saying? Because fish, brand new players just call with like third pair. They never fold. So they're very hard to beat. You have to win by showdown. And that's gambling in poker if you just rely on the cards. So his description of fish doesn't mean shit to me.
Coach Brad here with a poker coaching quiz. We have ace deuce suited under the gun. I'm not going to ask you what you should do because folding pre would make for a
I agree with that. I mean, we're six-handed. Ace deuce suited isn't great, but you can play it from any position six-handed because effectively you're in the low jack at six max NL. There's no first three positions, so you're already in the low jack, so it's automatically an open.
very silly quiz. We open 2.5x
That bet is too small, by the way. If this is online, that's one thing, but this is 1-2 live, I believe he told me. Or I believe he said.
from under the gun. A fish calls on the button, and I want to make a distinction between a fish and a rec. A fish, in my mind, is a player who's playing losing poker. Recreational players who are hobbyists can play at a high level.
Recreational players are typically also losing players because they're recreational. What are you talking about? Maybe it's just a perception. Okay, fine.
They can play winning poker themselves. So
So a player who plays winning poker and makes money, but doesn't play a lot for no fucking reason. He's a good player, consistent winner, but doesn't play a lot, so it's recreational. What?
have a passive fish who calls on the button.
He gave us some information. Passive fish. Okay, cool. So I think in his mind, he's talking about a new player who is not aggressive.
Both blinds fold, and then we see a flop of king 10 for rainbow, and now we're at our first decision point. Do we check? Do we start out by betting 1/3, or do we start out by betting 1/2 pot? What would you do?
Okay, first of all, half pot isn't an option he gave us. The pot is 13. You gave us an option of 5. There's a difference between betting 5 and betting 6.5 here. So already you're wrong. Congratulations. I'm going to bet a third of the pot with range here. I raised under the gun. So I'm betting everything. This is just GTO. I'm not considering now. We do have to consider the fact that the player is a fish. And he's, from what he's saying, he's, a newer bad player, not aggressive, so he's passive. So I think betting a third of the pot is fine because he's going to fold everything that didn't improve on this board. So I would bet 5 here. That is about the bet I would make. You know what? The bet I would make is probably about, I guess 5. If we're live, you can't bet less than that. So 5 or 6, I think I'm going to bet. But this sizing is wrong. He should have given us an option of 6 or 7. So.
Okay, so what should you do on this board as the pre-flop raiser when you raise under the gun, the button?
Okay, how is 2.2 correct here? Is he talking about blinds? Okay, if he's talking about blinds, but he didn't say that. He said, how much do you bet? He's talking about $5. If you say how much, he didn't say blinds. Okay, so okay, cool. 2.2 I'm fine with in 7 big blinds. That's cool. I lost my first free fish tourney with pre-flop ace king jam versus pocket eights. Well, Stanley, I know you're a newer player, bro. I am going to give you some advice that I wish someone had given me. Did you make the correct play? If you did, congratulations. The results do not matter. If you make the correct play enough, you'll be a winner. That's all there is to it. And what do you need to make the correct play with ace king versus a pair? Did you have 45% equity? Were you at a point in the tournament where you just open ripped for 15 or less big blinds? Cool. I think from any position that's okay with ace king. You'll get called lighter. You took a race, man. You were 45, 55. If there was blinds and antes, then you're automatically correct. You're automatically correct because you're going to make more than double your money. If the button called you with those eights, you're already making more than your money. You're already technically correct, odds-wise, but you're correct to get it in there with ace king versus eights as long as you had 45%. Now, if the player, let's say you had 100 blinds, right, and the player jammed 80 of them pre-flop, cold, that's a fold, sir. Even though you have the equity, it's risking way too much. Like if you were like deep in the tournament and that was a scenario, you were like 1-2 in chips, but I'll even take that race like the first hand of the tournament because it just looks so ridiculous. But yeah, man, don't worry about the results. Just worry about what you did and did right. That you can pat yourself on the back for all day long, but you have to win races, man, to win tournaments. That's the part of getting lucky that I agree with. I don't think you have to get lucky to win a tournament, meaning you have to get all the good cards and you have to suck out on people and all like that. No, 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 no. The only amount of luck you need is very small. It means that your odds have to run true. So if you raced ace king, 10 times in that tournament, you won half of them and lost half of them versus a pair of eights, your odds ran true. If you lost 9 of them, you bumped into variance, and the 10% went against you all at once. So that's getting unlucky. You know what I'm saying? Then again, if you got it in with ace king versus aces and you crack the guy, that's lucky too. But I don't consider myself happy about it. Like, I made a bad play. Like, if the guy 3-bet me and I 4-bet jammed for too many chips, 50 blinds, and he just rolls aces on me and I crack him with a straight, I'm going to feel like a fucking douchebag because I played wrong. So, all right, let's keep moving here. I'm going to get through this one kind of quickly.
Flats.
2.2 I agree with.
Worth 10 points is start out by betting 1/3. Betting 1/2 yielded you 7 points, and checking yielded you 2 points.
The reason why betting half is awful, it should be worth less points, is because it's not polarized, right? Ace king here, you're either going to bet 1/3, making it look standard C bet, like you could have anything, or you're going to bet like 75-80% of the pot for when a player has king queen, so you can stack them. So you need to be more polarized with your betting, I believe, especially if you're going to play more GTO, which is the current meta.
Want to start out by betting here. We can realize fold equity against some of the weaker hands, the offsuit aces, the suited connectors, potentially even some of the smaller pocket pairs. So we start out by betting 1/3, and our opponent calls, and now the turn is the 5 of hearts. And what should you do here? Should you check? Should you bet 5.8? Or should you bet 13?
Again, this is a very specific situation that he's talking about, which I think is bad to put in coaching things. You don't want to study specific situations. You want to study broad situations that come up a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one kind of comes up a lot where you see bet and then you got called. But I feel like he's making a meal out of a snack here. This is a check, man. Like, against a good player, I'm going to 3-barrel. But on that flop, I'm going to bet 2.2 like he did. And on this turn with 9 big blinds, I'm going to bet like 7. He doesn't have that option here. He has 5.8. I think that's too small to set up a 3-barrel bluff. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm just bet with nothing, hoping to take the other player down. Because they're going to raise me on the turn here with something good, right? So we're basically like betting against hands that have draws and second pair like ace 10. You know what I'm saying? Hands we can't beat like ace 10 or queen 10 or the 10 jack of hearts that's going to keep drawing, or things like that. I don't think we're trying to get a king to fold when we do that, because it's just not going to happen often enough. But he's only going to have a king about a third of the time, right? Hard to make a pair. Plus, we can get him off queens that way, believe it or not. I mean, fish, like, they don't, they'll fold queens. As much as they don't fold when the board improves them, they will fold when the board doesn't improve them. That being said, I don't even know if they call with queens on the flop, if the fish is that bad. So I think we just check here, honestly. I think we kind of give up, hope to take our showdown, or maybe if he does something stupid, we can take the pot away. But we do have a gut shot and the ace. The ace can be good a lot versus like king, queen. So, we got 4, 5, 6, 7 outs. That's 14%. So he can bet like 2 blinds, and we can call it taking some bad odds. But if we gut shot or hit the ace, we have some expected value. So I like a check here. I feel like he's going to say the worst option, which is bet 5.8, which is like just over half pot. Like, you should be betting like 6.5 to 7 blinds here, to set up a 3-barrel. Pot has to be big enough where it's scary on the river. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like 25, so he's facing a bet of like 22, 23 on the river. I'm going to check. If he says overbet, I don't know what the fuck he's smoking.
All right, for your turn decision point.
If he says overbet, I don't know what he's smoking. Your answer, check. Best answer, according to him, overbet to 13. This guy's a fucking joke. You're playing 1-2 live. This is not 200 NL online. This is 1-2 live. You're fucking retarded.
Betting 13 yielded 10 points.
Why?
Betting 5.8 yielded 7, and checking yielded 0. The reasoning as to why I believe you ought to be betting this turn is that our opponent, because they are a passive fish, they're going to have a lot of gut shots.
No, they're a passive fish. That means they don't fold. The fuck are you doing? Passive fish don't fold, and they're never folding a good draw like Queen Jack. You're out of your mind, bro. You're out of your mind. He's a passive fish, meaning he takes no aggressive action and is an uneducated player, right? Doesn't play a lot, takes no aggressive action. You're playing against the deck here, not the player, at 1-2 no limit.
Offsuit Broadway type hands, they're going to have a lot of 10x that they call the flop with, and they're also
and never fold. They're a passive fish. They're gonna hero call you. Passive fish have this boner in their mind for looking a guy in the eye, playing live, seeing his soul, and making a call with second pair for way too much and letting him know you owned him. It's not what fucking poker's about, man. Poker's about taking the other guy's money and saving your own. Like, passive fish jerk off to fucking shows like, to movies like Maverick, TV shows like Maverick, or Lucky You, poker fucking movies like that. The real poker movie out there is fucking Rounders, man. Rounders or The Cincinnati Kid. Those are the real poker movies because they show what it's about. It's about fucking money. It's about making good decisions and money. Now, Mike McDonald did a lot of shit wrong in that movie, but, like Kanish said, you little punk. I ain't playing for the thrill of fucking victory here. I owe rent, alimony, child support. I play for money.
also going to have some pocket pairs. So like sixes, sevens, eights, fives. Those type of hands are also going to call because we chose the 1/3 sizing. What that does is it allows our opponent to continue lighter, and because they continue the flop lighter, we size up here on the turn to maximize our fold equity, and that just means going 2/3. So we bet 2/3 here. Our opponent calls.
Of course,
and now we have the 10 of diamonds river. What should you do? Should you check here? Should you bet 30? So about 3/4 pot, or should you bet 22? About 1/2 pot.
You don't even have the right option on the fucking screen. This is so ridiculous. Now he's talking about betting the pot. Good, interesting distinction here. He was talking about betting in blinds before. Now he's talking about betting money. Because there's 22 blinds in the pot. The bet here to make the proper steal is about 20 blinds. 19 to 20 blinds, somewhere in there. That's the steal bet. He overbetted it with 13 blinds on the last street. Now he's talking about betting money. For 1/3 of the pot, betting 30, or betting 22, or betting 30. I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about anymore. It's the worst fucking coach ever. I swear to God, it's really taking a lot of... I've had the thought 5 times while we're sitting here watching these about sending an email to Jonathan Little. Like, this is wrong. I really hope Jonathan Little sees these. Like, I know he just has coaches and maybe he trusts this guy and didn't review him, what he's doing here, but these quizzes shouldn't even be on the fucking site. This is bad.
All right, for your turn decision point, betting at 13 yielded 10 points. Betting 5.8.
Okay. Oh, we didn't do it. My answer was to check. By the way, I'm giving up. I'm absolutely giving up on the river after I've played this hand horribly.
Checking gets 10 points.
Oh, look at that.
Betting 30 gets 2 points, and then the half pot sizing nets you 0.
You overbet the turn, and then you're checking the river. For me to check the river there, I would have had to have realized I had played the hand completely wrong, and then gave up. Like, but I'd have to already be wrong 3 times in the hand to get to this point, where now I just set my cards on fire.
0 points. So here we definitely want to start out by checking.
Start out!
And then our opponent goes ahead and bets exactly 1/2 pot. And now you're faced with a river decision. What should you do right here?
Okay. So he's a fish. Right? He's a fish. Now, He bets half pot, which is a bad bluff size. So there's an argument to be made here for bluff catching. This hand has been played so poorly that I doubt he's going to do something good now. Honestly, I think you're going to be up against a 10 quite a lot here. I think you're going to be up against a king quite a lot here. I think you're going to be up against pocket nines a lot here. By the way, pocket nines, that player doesn't think they're turning into a bluff. They think they're betting for value. And you can't raise them. And they're right. The move here is to fold, but I feel like he's going to say, make a hero call, which would be the worst thing in the world. Because, like, the only hero calls, the only hands you beat are Queen Jack and Ace. No, I guess you chop with Ace Deuce, right? So Queen Jack and, like, somehow if Deuce Tray called you on the flop for a backdoor straight draw, Deuce Tray of Hearts. But this is a fold all day long, man. He agreed with my turn check, but I feel like he's going to... This is one of those ones where he's jacking off, where he might have made some great hero call. I'm not going to try to game the game, though. There is some merit to raising to 75 here, but then again, you've played the hand so poorly, man, that I think you're just going to get called instantly by a king-queen, and you're just torching money now because you're trying to save your stupid ass. So I'm going with fold.
Okay, so the river paired the board, and now we're facing...
Best answer, call. This is what I'm saying. This is a very specific situation. Again, he's coaching a specific situation. He's talking about Queen Jack. He's going to tell me this dude, he called it, and sure enough, the guy had Queen Jack, and look at me, I'm such a good player. No, you're a fucking idiot, bro. You should have defined the hand as a three-barrel bluff. You didn't do that. If you do that, then your bet on the river, you're going to bet 2/3 pot, and he's just going to fold, because you're going to go bet, and he missed his draw, and then he folds. And you might even give up the draw on the turn if you set it up correctly. But let's look at
facing
this.
a half pot sizing. You have your
bluff,
options
yeah.
to fold,
Or
to
value.
call, or to raise.
Now, during that, you guys saw the other day when I was playing and we final tabled, I made half pot bets a lot to look like bad bluffs, so I got paid in situations where I had the world. If I had pocket tens here and had quads or pocket kings and had a full house or better, I would be betting this bet to get called in this scenario, because I know the other player has air balls and is going to make a crying call trying to snap me off if I look dumb enough. This is a dumb bet. I would be doing this to try to get called. This player is going to have Queen Jack all day long, right?
75. The folding option netted you 0 points. For those of you who are the more ambitious type that wanted to raise 75, that also netted you 0 points.
That's the only best option. You're opting to hero call here. If you're gonna play to win this pot, you absolutely could check raise big. And then what? You think he's gonna call you with King Jack? No.
It's for your ambition. Calling is the preferred method of continuing here.
No, it's not.
So we call the river. Villain has 7-9 of hearts. The reason that you're calling here instead of raising and instead of folding is because we're getting 3-1 on the river. We need to win approximately 25% of the time, and villain is representing a polarized range. Because our opponent is a fish, it makes them less likely to value bet their king X here on the river, and if they have 10x, which...
You're a moron. A fish absolutely bets every king on the river. A fish will bet King Deuce on the fucking river. That's what makes them a goddamn fish. Oh, you're a fucking idiot. And this fish just saw somebody bluff for the first time. Like, this is a very specific situation. He's like, ooh, I can bet if I don't have anything. I'm going to try to do that. He was setting this up pre-flop when he saw 7-9. He's like, I'm going to go for it here. He's going to get his nuts up and try to play a move, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He fucking called you on this flop because your bet was so fucking stupid, and you didn't bet the turn, right? Oh my god. Oh, this guy, he overbets the turn for 13, right? So what calls you? The draw. Okay, the draw. The fucking draw calls you on the turn. But you don't fucking know that. If you're going to bet that turn, especially if you overbet it for 13, which you don't overbet turns in 1-2 live, by the way. You never do that. unless you're convinced the other player has a hand that he's never folding and has a lot of chips and the pot's small. Like, let's say there's $10 in the pot, right? Heads up, happens a lot in 1-2 live, and you have quads on a board of ace, king, king, and the other player has queens, right? You think, or ace, or sorry, let's say it's 10-10-9, right? And you raised and he called, and you have quad tens, right? And he has pocket nines, let's say, and you bet the flop for $10 just because you don't want to check because it looks too strong, and then he smooth calls you, and then the turn comes off and it's a king, right? So he can have queen jack, he can have pocket nines. If you have pocket kings, he's never gonna have pocket kings because he didn't three bet you, right? So if I have quads there into a $30 pot, I'm gonna bet 50 because I'm convinced that player's never gonna fold. He's just going to jam in my face with a fucking full house because he's going to think I hit the king with ace king and now he's got me beat with his under full when I have quads. That's the scenario to overbet the fucking turn in 1-2 no limit. Notice how rare that fucking is. That shit never fucking... That's like 1 in 10,000. Like, it's so rare, and I only know how to do it because I probably put in... I put in easily 500,000 hands live. So... It's a joke how rare this scenario is. You overbet the turn and got called by a draw. This is what I'm saying. Fish don't fold. Like, even if you knew he had 7-9 on the turn here, if he showed me his cards and he had 7-9 after the way this hand had been played, and he doesn't know my cards, do you think I'm betting? No. No. I'm checking the turn because I know the fish is never fucking folding. So then what? I'm just giving him a pull at a flush draw for more money. He doesn't care. He doesn't care how much it costs. I would check the turn. And then when the 10 came on the river, and then I would check and see if he wants to bluff at it with 9 high. This guy's awful.
They may and they may not. They can fold the 10x on the turn occasionally. So they don't even show up with all of the trips here on the river because they're...
He bet 13 on the turn into a pot of... fucking like 8 or 9, something like that. He bet 13 blinds into a pot of 8 or 9 blinds. That looks like such utter bullshit. That's why you don't do it to bluff. You do it to value. Like, the fish actually makes a good call there. If the fish had bet on the river properly, if he had bet 75% pot, you're check folding, fucker, and you just got played, son.
Fish, typically when fish river trips, they size up to about 75% pot or full pot. So, because villain is polarized here and used a
It's absolutely not true. When a fish makes a good hand on the river like trips, right? They're not betting huge. After you check, they're just trying to get paid and have a showdown. Fish don't care about the actual money. They care about showdowns. They care about winning. A fish would rather get paid super small on a nutted hand than get a hand that goes down check fold when they just bet super small. They'd rather get the small value than bluff a small pot and win it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want the showdown win. That's what fish are all about. Showdown win. They gamble. They don't know how to play, so they're gamblers. And anytime you rely on the deck, I've said it a million times, anytime you rely on the deck to win you pots, you are gambling. Because nobody can rely on what cards come out. You have to have control.
That does not indicate much value, and because we bet 1/3 on the flop here to keep villain's range wide, we are able to find a call and pick off villain's bluff with ace high.
This is the worst played fucking hand I've ever seen in my life. If this guy has any more quizzes, I don't know if I can do it. I got to see if he's got any more. He just joined the team, so he's got like 4 of them. This dude doesn't... How is this dude not busto? Is this a real hand that he played? Yeah, Dat Stanley. This is what that is. That's a hand replayer. So that's a hand that he played, took notes on it, and then entered it into the hand replayer so he could show us later about everything great he did. Like I'm saying, he justified horrible play by winning the hand. It's so stupid. I have to see if this coach has more shit. I have to know. Like, Dat, I know you're newer to poker, right? Look at all this shit that Assassinato has. I'm never going to find this guy. I'm never going to find him because Assassinato just has too many fucking Too many hands. I'm never gonna find him. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, this fucking guy, Brad. It's so bad. Oh, you know what? Let's search for him. Let's see how many he has. I think he's only got 4, right? Yeah. Oh, there's Brad Owen, right? Here's a player who this guy vlogs. Brad Owen. If you don't know Brad Owen, man, you should follow him. He's super entertaining. He's probably the sweetest guy in the world. Like, he's just the nicest dude you'll ever meet, and he's actually a very strong player. And he's like this. He's like this gork. He's like this giraffe. This fucking 6 foot tall fucking gork who you would think would have no moves. The dude is aggro as fuck, but humble as shit. I love that dude. I love watching his fucking things. We're going to watch one of his just to show how a more experienced cash game player plays. Because he plays mostly cash, right? See more if to see he's consistently a bad coach. I think he's a new coach. So he has a thing that he just put up that he mentioned in that video. He has a course that he put up. My recommendation is watch that course and then hit yourself in the head with a hammer so you forget everything you learned. That's my advice. Don't take this guy's course. I think I have to write an email. Like, here's the thing, man. I'm in poker, right? And I'm back to streaming. So that means that there's other opportunities for me. Like, I got sponsors before and I got stuff like that very quickly because I do engage with people and I'm not just sitting there going, raise to 5, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm kind of bounce all over the place, so I'm kind of fun to watch, you know, because I'm fucking an idiot. And, you know, I'm doing dumb shit, like, you know, my nails and shit. So I'm kind of fun to watch. So I'll get sponsors. So I always had it in the back of my head that, not that I was going to, like, not be me, but don't talk shit about people who may sponsor you, right? So I'm not going to talk shit about ACR, let's say, right? Because I love ACR, right? There's some things that can be improved, but it's not my job to point them out, man. I'm just a player there, right? But why would I burn that bridge, right? I love this site. I love Jonathan Little site. You know, his poker coaching premium is the best value in poker, I think. You know, there's sites that, you know, it costs you $1,200 for a course that's 5 hours. There's literally 1,000 of these hand quizzes on there, and that's not even it, man. You've got fucking courses that are like his tournament course, his tournament masterclass, which, by the way, I don't recommend. I think you got to go master the fundamentals first and then tournament masterclass. I actually completed it. But this is I had to renew my account, so it doesn't show that. This thing is like 80 hours of videos, and it's broken down so intensely. It's like the best course you're ever going to take. It's crazy. You simplify things quiet, and I love that, and you're honest. Thanks, Dat, man. That's the whole thing, is you got to think about poker simply. If you make it too complex, even at the table at the time, your own brain can't do it. Like, you can have a ton of practice, and you get more complex with combos and, you know, concepts like that. But I think at its base level, you have to have the things that you do and the way that you respond to them, and you have to be thinking ahead. It's like chess. It's like chess with very few moves. You know, you don't think 30 moves ahead in poker. You think 5. You know, saying, like, if I bet, what does he do here? If he does that, what do I do to that? Like, that's the level of thinking ahead. But, yeah, I try to simplify it. So, yeah, this guy's just awful. Let's go back to the quizzes. I want to do a Brad Owen quiz because I think Brad will be the kind of guy who will get one right and I'll get it wrong and I'll realize it. So I don't want to do aces. Let's see. And these hands are usually vlogged, like he's at the table recording them. So let's see here. Ace Queen in a cash game, 2-5. That's interesting. Let's see how he plays a suited ace. Okay? Let's see the contrast here. Playing 5-5, so a little bit bigger. Let's see how it is. His stack is $1,000. That's 200 blinds. So it's twice the size of the blinds that this guy had. Oh, no, he had 51, so it's 4 times the size. That's the other thing. You're playing 1-2. You reload if you're less than 100 blinds. 51 blinds, fucking retarded. So let's play one of Brad's. This will go quick.
Here we're playing 5-5, no limit Texas Hold'em.
Actual footage from his vlog. Fucking cool.
Hollywood Park Casino. We're in the big blind with ace-4 diamonds, and the hijack opens at 20. We can either fold, call, 3-bet to 70, or rip it in the hijack's face.
Okay, obviously ripping it, going all in is not good here. The hijack opened. We can 3-bet a lot here. I think it's fine to do that. Let's rehear it. I didn't see what position we were in.
Here we're playing 5-5, no limit Texas Hold'em, Hollywood Park Casino. We're in the big blind with ace-4 of diamonds, and the hijack opens at 20. We can either fold, call, 3-bet to 70, or rip it in the hijack's face.
Okay, important distinction. He's in California, and it's very aggressive out there, and I think if you 3-bet here, you get 4-bet a lot lighter, especially out of the big blind. With only one player in. If somebody else had called, I'd squeeze, but I think it's just a call there because we don't want to get 4-bet and then have to fold a hand with good equity, so I'm just going to call.
Folding is too weak with a suited ace. We're getting a discount since we're in the big blind. We can't let this go under these circumstances. I actually don't mind 3-betting. We've got some card removal to make it less likely we're up against a strong hand. The hijack is going to have a relatively wide range, so he should have plenty of hands that he's opening with that'll fold to a 3-bet, and if we do get called, we'll have some playability. This is a reasonable option that allows us to win the hand right away without seeing the flop, so I like it for that reason too, but I think it's just slightly worse than calling for 15 more, getting 2-1, and closing the action. That's what I do. I flat.
Closing the action. So we get to see a flop.
It's heads up, the flop comes 6-5 deuce, we've got an over, a gut shot straight draw, and a backdoor flush draw. Should we check, bet 15, bet 20, or bet 30?
We have a lot of great equity with backdoors. We have a gut shot. We have an overcard and all like that. In Vegas, I think I can lead here a lot. In California, I'm checking because the guy who raised me pre-flop, when you lead into them, is going to raise you at a much higher frequency. I don't know if he brings that up here, but it's just so aggressive blindly out there. I wish I knew what kind of player it was. Like it was a white guy, was it a black guy, was it a Asian dude? Because that's a definite factor. If it was an Asian guy, I'm never betting because I'm always going to get raised. And we do have good equity, so I'm going to go ahead and check to the raiser.
In this situation, I'm always checking to the pre-flop aggressor. That's the best option. The hijack checks back. The turn is the 8 of hearts, so we've improved to a double gutter. Again, we can either check, bet 15, bet 20, or bet 30.
I'm going to go ahead and bet, it's 45. I'm going to bet a little less than half pot. We could bet 30, but I think it looks a little suspect. Plus hands like, 2 overs with hearts. Even a guy with just the ace of hearts, right? He can't make the flush, but he knows we can't make the nut flush. I'm going to go ahead and bet. I think 15's, 15's good. It's between 15 and 20. I usually like to go a little bit bigger live. Yeah, if I was online with this hand, I'm going 15. Live, I'm going to go 20 because it's not half pot, right? Like 20, well, 25 would be considered like half pot here, really, even though I know it's 45 because you only have units of 5, right? So I think I like 20 here, just to size up a little bit. Because I'm setting up a river bluff, to barrel if I miss, and if I make it, I can make the bet really big and get paid off, right? If I make my straight. But if a jack comes off on the river, I'm no good. If a king if jack comes off, I can bet. But if let's say the board pairs, like a deuce comes off on the river, after I've bet 20, there'll be 85 in this pot. I can just bet 55 and take it down, because he's just not going to have anything. So I'm going to bet 20.
This is a better board for our range than it is for the opponents. After he checked back flop, feel pretty good betting to potentially get some better ace highs to fold and deny equity from other holdings. If we do get called, we'll have plenty of cards that can give us the winner. Checking is my least favorite option. Betting 30 is my favorite sizing after thinking about it, but I end up betting 20.
Okay, so I like that. So what Brad did here, this is what the other Brad didn't do. What Brad did here is he said, betting 30 is my best option, so he thinks that's the best option, but he said, in this instance, I bet 20. So he's telling us he made a mistake. Going back and looking at it, he said, you know what, 30 is better because I can more reasonably represent something on this board for value. That's what he's saying. So he showed us that he made a mistake, and he's not afraid to, admit that. So he didn't say, betting 20 here is obviously the best because he has it on camera. He's like, no, dude, I got 5 points on this turn here too. Love that. Love that about this guy.
The hijack calls right away. This can be an indicator that the player is on a draw. Perhaps he's picked up hearts. The river is an ace. We make top pair. Should we check, bet 30, bet 40, or bet 70?
So it's obviously a good card for us, but here's the problem. We have the other player on a draw, right? A heart draw, right? So what are the feasible heart draws that didn't bet the flop? All the suited ace of hearts that don't have a pair. So we're going to be beat by them a lot. We're not getting a fold from ace 10, obviously. But here's the other thing. Let's say the dude has king queen of hearts, right? Or the 10 jack of hearts, or just 2 hearts that don't have an ace. Now we have the best hand. Is he going to call us if we bet? No. He can't bluff catch us without an ace, right? And he can definitely raise us. So we might set ourselves up to get blown off the best hand by king, queen of hearts, right? So I think we just check and we allow the other player to bluff, and we kind of make a, we're bluff catching here at this point. If we're sharing the ace, it screws us. But if we're not, we win a nice pot. So I think we just check and let him bluff. You know what I'm saying? That's our best play to win this pot, because even betting, we can get blown off the hand, because if we bet and he raises, we're obviously beat, right? A player knows that. So he's going to raise us with king, queen of hearts a lot here, right? So let's check.
Our hand goes from having very little showdown value to having a lot. The opponent called the turn with an ace-high flush draw. We aren't going to be ahead, so it could actually be a bad card for us. It's possible the hijack floated the turn with some other strong aces that didn't have draws too, since we made the turn bet so small. Missed draws without a pair aren't going to be able to call a bet. They may take a stab at it as a bluff. The way the hand played, it's unlikely that we're going to be up against pocket kings down to nines. These are all hands that we're beating that would be able to call a bet. I don't think there will be many eights in the opponent's range either, since a lot of those would have straight draws on the flop, and you should have bet those at that time. Checking is my favorite option, and that's what I do. Betting small to get called by worse hands isn't too bad either. Betting 70 is my least favorite option because it's unlikely that we'll get called by anything worse. Better hands usually won't be folding. The hijack bets 45. Should we fold, call, raise to 150? We'll rip it in with the whole stack.
I mean, this is exactly what we're looking for, right? There's 85 in the pot. He makes a bet. It could definitely be a value bet size. So he could have like ace 10, ace jack, something like that. But it also can be that bad bluff, right? A bad player making a bad bluff. That's what this is. So I don't think we have any other options than to call. Let's do it.
We hit a card that'll often give us the best hand. We didn't check in order to fold. We checked to induce a bluff or keep the pot manageable and get to showdown. We're getting a great price too, so folding is out of the question. There's certainly no need to turn our hand into a bluff. Raising doesn't have too much merit here either. The best option is to call. Sometimes we're going to have the losing hand, but that's not the case in this instance. The opponent turns over king 7 offsuit, made a loose pre-flop raise, turned an open-ender, and then bluffed river after missing. We win.
You're trying to get some Bradley dollars, huh?
Trying. I failed that time. I'll get them later. Don't worry.
Okay.
So now that's interesting because there's a little dynamic here too, because this is obviously a meetup game where fans of Brad get together and they all play poker in one big room, and Brad goes from table to table to table, right? He makes so much money at those just by beating his fans. It's fucking great. It's brilliant that they do that. Andrew Nemi does that too. It's so brilliant, man, because these players just want, they know they're going to be on the vlog. That's why the guy showed the hand. You're getting all the information at the end, and he knows that if he bluffs Brad, he gets to, say, on a vlog, and like, I bluffed this guy and whatever. But again, look, he made the bad bluff size. If he had bet that river for like 75 or 80, ooh, that's hard to call with an ace rag. I don't know if I make that call there, right? Because we could have been just betting into a set, right? The guy could have checked the flop with a set, or he could have called the flop with a set and then checked back on the turn because he knows we don't have shit. And then on the river, when the ace hits, he could think, ooh, my opponent has an ace, so I'm going to bet huge with my set. That's also what I would do with a bluff, because it looks like that, right? But this is just a good example of the difference between a good Brad coach and a bad Brad coach. Bad Brad, I don't even remember his fucking name, man. Let's go back to the quizzes just so I can learn the dude's name, because I want you to avoid his content at all costs. Brad Owen, follow him on YouTube. Watch his stuff on here. He gets, he does some of these hand reviews, and you get to see his play live because he vlogs it instead of just the hand replayer, which is really cool. But that other Brad, man, that is bad Brad. What the fuck is this guy's name even? Like, I don't even know his name. I think he said it in the first hand he posted on here. So, no, that's not this one. I guess it's the first hand we watched, which was Fish Sandwich, right? Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and... This is the other day. I'm just getting his name right now.
Welcome to another quiz from Coach Brad. You're playing it to...
I guess not. I don't know what his last name is, bro. I'm just going to say, when you see this guy's dumb face, avoid his content at all costs, unless it's for bigger. If he's talking about playing $100 buy-ins online, tournaments, I would take a look at that. Because I'll bet he plays really good at higher stakes, and he just did this to get some content. And he's fucked up 1-2 royally with the coaching. So that's how I feel about that. Yeah. So this was a lot of fun, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the Wake Up With Me stream. I got a long day. I got to go to the grocery store. I got to cook. I have a very weird diet. I'll get into it later. It's not something I really talk about much, but I am losing weight. Um, I'm gonna go see Shang-Chi tonight with the wife and her girlfriend and or the wife and her boyfriend and his girlfriend. And I guess I'm third wheel with my wife. Am I? I don't know. But it'll be fun, and it's cool because I've never met one of her one of her boy toys before. But this guy she's known for a while. So, and he seems pretty cool, and he's a Marvel fan, so we get to nerd out together. And Shang-Chi, man, I can't wait to see that. So that's my day planned out. And I'm going to come back tonight, probably about 10 or 11 tonight, Pacific Standard Time, that's Vegas time, to play some cash games, maybe some jackpots, those little gambly sit-and-goes. Those are fun. And we'll just hang out and talk, and I'll talk to you guys about Shang-Chi. And yeah, so that'll be tonight. And then tomorrow we'll have the Wake Up With Me at 11:30 if I don't oversleep again. So it was great, guys. Thanks for coming out. Gratz, have a good time. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Dat Stanley, appreciate the loyalty, man. I know you're new. I hope you can learn a lot from me, and I want to hear about some wins. Put in the work, though. And when you're playing, especially online, don't sit there just like watching YouTube and fucking around. You don't want to be all loosey-goosey eating a sandwich, right? You want to be watching the other players and seeing what they do and watching showdowns and seeing, ooh, that worked here, that didn't work here. Make notes, man. If you have Poker Tracker, that's awesome. Yeah. But I love that you're a new player and that you're here with me, man. I hope that we can foster a real love for the game, and I hope you get, like, really good. Not better than me, though. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Where's the fucking button? There it is.